Well, good morning, good morning. And how are you today? This is Dr. Yonnette. I know that you had a great night with baby AJ or Dominic or Crystal or Judy or Joy. They slept well during the night and you are ready to start your day. I had a great interaction with a third grade student yesterday. I was observing him to provide strategies to the classroom teacher to help him succeed. But before I got to his classroom, I saw this student in the hallway that so much looked like him. And I asked, "Are you so and so?" And he proceeded to say, "Yes. How did you know?" But suffice it to say, I had looked at his picture online, so I knew what he looked like. And I asked him again, "So how are you doing in school?" And he said, "I am doing great. I am succeeding in class." Now, his response indicated a lack of awareness of the struggles that he was having at the developmental level. How was he developing? And what he was experiencing as a child was just, I am happy. But he wasn't looking at the little nuances, the little areas of development that we need to cue into. As new moms, it will serve you well if you are aware of the developmental milestones that your baby should reach as your baby grows. So I want you to look at these milestones in the 6 areas. One, gross motor. Gross motor development or gross motor skills involve the large muscles of the arms, the legs, and the trunk or the torso. You want to make sure that those areas are developing appropriately for your baby. Okay, let's look at fine motor. Fine motor is the use of the hands and the fingers and the extremities, and they include reaching and grasping and manipulating objects with your hands. So you're looking at those areas for your baby. Then you want to look at the social skills. What are the ways in which your baby is interacting with other people, with you, for instance, with dad, and then with the people in his or her environment? And then I want you to focus on the sensory skills. And the sensory skills relate to the vision, hearing, taste, touch, smell, which allow the baby to explore his or her world. And then look at language or speech. We talked about reading and how it impacts language. What kind of sounds are your baby making? What kind of sounds is he or she making so that he is developing those rudimentary skills to be able to speak. And then the last part of development that I want you to focus on is self-care. How is the baby interacting with or participating in self-care? And this is something we'll talk about in a little more detail as we get to growth and development. But this morning, I want us to focus on gross motor skills. Like I said earlier, gross motor skills involve the large muscles of the arms and the legs and the torso. And gross motor activities are important, very extremely important to everyday activities like walking and running and lifting and kicking and really just participating in physical activities. For a lot of babies, if we don't give them the opportunity, sometimes these skills don't develop as they should. So I want us to just look at newborn to 2 months old for your gross motor development. Moms and dads, cue into this. In terms of gross motor development from 0 to 2 months old, your baby should begin to turn his or her head in both directions. Okay? He's lying there. He should be able to turn to the right and turn to the left. That at 2 months, at 0 to 2 months old, you also want your baby, you also want to notice that your baby is lifting the head and being able to turn to both sides while he or she is on the belly. So that's 0 to 2 months old. And then when you're observing the baby from a gross motor perspective, you want to make sure that the head lag with pull to sit. So when the baby is, you're pulling now up to sit, there's a head lag. Okay? And then as the baby keeps growing, he or she is kicking both legs, moving the arms equally while on the back. You know, those flaring actions that you see babies participate in. And then you are also, this is a very, very important aspect of development, is that you want your baby to have tons and tons of tummy time. Tummy time is so important to gross motor development. You put your baby on the tummy so that he can have those reflexes in activation, so that he can develop the gross motor skills that he or she needs. He's pulling his head up. He's holding his head up while he's on the tummy. He's kicking his legs. He's getting that trunk, the trunk strengthening that's taking place as he's lying there on his tummy. So today, I am talking with you about development, developmental milestones that you can expect from your newborn as he or she grows and develops. You know, awareness is half of the battle. I work with pediatric population, and a lot of times parents are not aware of what the expectations are for a child at a different levels of growth and development. And if you keep cued in to what should be taking place for your child at different points of his or her growth, then you will know whether or not your child is developing appropriately. Granted, these milestones are really average milestones. Not every child is going to develop those milestones at the same point, but you want to be assured that even if the child falls out of that range, that at some point he or she, not too far away from that range, he or she is making the appropriate development so that he can be a child that is able to access his world and to participate in his world without any developmental delays. And at some point we are going to talk about what happens if you notice that your child has developmental delays, how to help the child get the kind of care he or she may need so that they can succeed in life. So today we are talking about developmental milestones. I focused on gross motor development. I want you to begin looking at your child and see how your child is developing, and use that chart. Take pictures. I love pictures. Pictures tell 1,000 words. Take pictures of your child kicking and holding his head up and turning his head from side to side. Take some short videos and post them on my page. Remember, you have to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Remember to send me a request so that I can add you to Skincare Explosion with Dr. Yonnette, and let's have life together as you raise your newborn and you work with parenting your children so that they can be productive citizens of your community and the global world. Thank you for joining me. Have a fantastic day.